The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Tonight in Detroit, the Knicks had 16 steals. Their season high last year was 13. Every starter in double figures for the fourth straight game. OG Anunoby had 21. Karl Anthony Towns, 21 and 11. And Jalen Brunson with his best game of the young season, 36 points, 14 of 22 from the floor. And the Knicks, a wire-to-wire blowout win in Detroit, 128-98. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pidto along with Hahn and Wally Szczerbiak. The old saying goes that in the NBA, no lead is safe. But tonight, Alan, the lead was safe from the opening tip. Knicks were up by 26 points after the first quarter and were never challenged the rest of the way.
Yeah, this was a great start to the game. It was really exactly what you'd want to see the Knicks do against a team like the Pistons, still young, still trying to figure it out. In the second half in Miami, it seemed to unlock some things offensively with this team, especially between Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Those two guys, the Pistons had no answer for. They were unstoppable. And Jalen Brunson, while he really seemed to have found his offense, especially the three-point shot, he got that going early, and the Knicks were a team that the Pistons could not handle.
This is pretty cool, watching Karl Anthony Towns go off for 44 2 nights ago, and then Jalen Brunson, just a ho-hum 36 in 3 periods, basically. He didn't play much in that fourth quarter at all. This team is really good, and this is why the whole entire NBA has taken notice of what the Knicks are doing, because they have capable players that can dominate a game, can take over an offense, and we were just talking about it. I love the way the ball doesn't stick.
Yeah.
Everyone shares the ball. Mikal Bridges does all those little things, you know, stays in the corner when he gets his opportunity, makes quick decisions, quick plays. Nobody pounds it. Nobody holds it. Nobody takes bad shots. Everyone shares the ball and moves the ball. And you're seeing that you're starting to see how these pieces fit and how they're really coming together.
And defense, by the way. I mean, that's another part of the story here. We can talk about the fact that the Knicks put 39 points up in that first quarter. But what they did defensively at the beginning of this game, you heard Jalen Brunson talking about it with Kenny and Clyde. They forced 22 turnovers. They scored 30 points off those turnovers. 16 steals. Every starter had at least 2 steals in this game. So it was a collective effort, not just offensively, but on the defensive end as well.
And for the second straight game, guys, 30 assists. We looked it up. Last year they had, 10 games with at least 30 assists?
10 games with at least 30 assists.
And already went back-to-back with 30.
That's the ball movement, people movement, not holding it. That's an example of that.
All right, let's take a look at the first half. Wally was 39-13 after the first quarter of play, and at the half, the lead was 23.
I mean, it was just doors blown off in that first quarter. The Knicks were really focused.
Should we play Sweet Georgia Brown underneath these highlights right here with some of the passes that we're seeing?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but
okay.
Okay, look at the ball movement and just focus from the beginning was outstanding by this Knickerbocker team. The defense was suffocating. This Detroit team, they don't have a lot of confidence to begin with. They're 1-4 on their home floor, and the Knicks are just starting to really hit their stride. And I said it, you know, the first couple games of the season takes a little bit of time just to get comfortable with each other. And now they're starting to get really comfortable with each other, Alan, and it's not good news for opponents.
No, and it's good news for the Knicks. And by the way, yes, halftime update from the Pistons. Yeah, stuff happened.
Knicks were up 69-46
The assessment from Detroit.
A beatdown happened there, Piston fans.
A lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened in the Knicks' favor. Let us now bring in Monica McNutt from Detroit. She helped call the game on the radio, ESPN New York. Easy breezy tonight, huh, Monica?
You know, pack them up. Let's keep it moving. Listen, that was a terrific performance by the Knicks. And we talked a lot about the second half defense in Miami traveling. As much as we will marvel at the 36 points by Jalen Brunson, all 5 starters in double figures, the high shooting percentage from the three-point line. Let me just double check that real quick. 47% from the three-point line. To me, it was their defense. And yes, I get it. The Detroit Pistons are an organization that's still working through some things. They're a very young team, but still, you're going into Houston versus a team that's feeling pretty good, having just knocked off Dallas, that also high-powered youth, right? And so I think, again, continuing to make deposits on developing your defensive identity with this new-look team is a good thing.
It's the attitude, right, Monica? The way that they attack them defensively. Like you said, I was pointing out before, all 5 starters had at least 2 steals. The fact that they got after it on that end, which a lot of times you see a team like this you go into play a team like Detroit, maybe you kind of let off a little bit. You don't give that effort you're supposed to get on the defensive end. You just try to outscore them. This looked like a real professional effort by this Knicks team on the defensive end, didn't it?
I agree with you, Hahn, and I actually thought that third quarter was going to be sort of the challenge moment because you're up, however many it was, plus 20 at halftime.
30.
Do you still have that? Yeah, 30. Do you still have the focus to come out in the third quarter and execute? And this team did do that. So I think this was a really good showing, and we keep hearing Coach Tom Thibodeau and even the players when we have a chance to talk with them after shoot-arounds and such, talking about the time that it takes. OG Anunoby on our radio interview post-game said the same thing to us. He's like, look, like, we're all a new team. So we're all still adjusting. It's not just about the two new pieces in the starting lineup, but it's about the team being a different look team and having to go about it differently this year to achieve success.
Now, Monica, Jalen Brunson was absolutely on fire. This is what we expected to see out of him. It's about time. What did you see out of him tonight?
So you tell me, Wally. I remember Kate Cunningham going off at the Garden last year, and so I thought that this one might have had a little bit of a personal piece to it, and of course the best ways, the most competitive ways, but I also saw him take really good shots and take what the defense gave him. I didn't think that he forced it. I thought his teammates did a good job of finding him. To go along with those 36 points, he still had 5 assists, but I think overall, the poise you saw, to me in the first quarter, the thing that jumped out was the cutting and passing within a tight window, usually in the paint. Like, we saw Mikal Bridges come down and get a pass in the paint off of a cut. Karl Anthony Towns, the first 4 baskets by this team in totality were all in the paint, and I think that really set the tone. And so for JB, when you hot, let it fly. Shoot to get hot, and shoot to stay hot, baby.
All right, Monica, you going to the Michigan game tomorrow with the crew or what?
I am going to the Michigan game, bundled up. It's going to be a cute little college football vibe. You know, at Georgetown, we ain't do college football, so I'm going to, be engaged for a little bit, and then, whatever we do next, I'll be on to the next thing.
Go blue. Just remember,
all
go
of that.
blue.
Okay,
see you on Monday. See you on Monday night from Houston. Have a good trip to Houston. All right, so 2 things that really stood out to me. Brunson from three-point range at 6 out of 8. How about Karl Anthony Towns with 7 assists?
Yeah, and you thought if this was a closer game, he might have gotten into a triple-double with his performance. We were talking about it before, the willing passer that Karl Anthony Towns is, and the chemistry that you start to build where it's not just the point guard looking for the big man and setting him up like we saw in Miami. It was Karl Anthony Towns saying, okay, I can also get you open too, Jalen Brunson. But Towns is not just a three-point shooter. He's not just one of these bigs that lives on the perimeter. Look at that pass, by the way. Over the head, finding the cutter, and then the finish in the end one. But for Towns, I like this. He goes to the basket. He attacks. I was hearing people talk about how Towns is not a tough player, that he doesn't go in the paint enough. He doesn't do things in the paint. Wally, I don't know about you, but these last couple of games, what I've seen from Karl Anthony Towns is a guy that's 7 feet and uses all of it and the strength to do what he has to do in the painted area.
Yeah, and he's going up against a strong dude there in Isaiah Stewart, but he has the size advantage over him. He's just an overall, no weakness basketball player. He's super skilled. The passing is outstanding, has a great feel for the game, and not a lot of 7-footers do. Obviously, Jokic has an unbelievable feel for the game, but, Towns has that type of feel where he'll do whatever the defense allows him to do. He'll read and react to how his defender's guarding him. He can go to the basket, he can post up, he can knock down the three, he can pass if he needs to pass. He's a really talented overall basketball player, and he's showing it. And he's right in the middle of his prime, too, which is nice to have him on the Knicks roster right in the middle of his prime.
He's like a guard in a 7-foot body.
Yeah.
I mean, he just does everything. All right, when we come back, Knicks now 3-2. We're going to hear the post-game comments from the head coach, Tom Thibodeau, as the Knicks blow out the Pistons tonight by 30. Welcome back, everyone. Game 3 of the Knicks' 4-game road trip at Houston Monday night. Pre-game at 8, game at 8:30. You can also stream our coverage on MSG Plus, now part of the Gotham Sports app. It's the Fab Five for the Knicks. Double figures now for 4 straight games. First time this has happened since 1989, when the Knicks starting 5 during that year had 6 straight games in double figures. Tom Thibodeau's post-game comments presented by Chase.
Coach, 10 assists in that first quarter, 30 for the game, second straight game with 30 assists. What stands out about the ball movement, specifically these last 2 games?
Well, I think that, one, it got started off our defense, the activity to get into the open floor, and then creating space, attacking space, but doing something for someone else. I think they all shared in running the floor, cutting, and playing off the cut. And when we do that, we create good shots for each other. So we got into a good rhythm, and then, I thought the defense was terrific, but then the willingness to share the ball was huge for us.
I know with that, the Pistons have struggled with turnovers a lot this year. Is the main thing for your guys preaching intensity and pressure just because this is a team that is turnover prone and being able to turn that into easy offense?
No, the one thing that they've played really good basketball. They really have. I've watched a number of their games, and this team is a very, very good team. They're very dynamic, and they could hurt you with their speed. They can hurt you off the dribble. The backcourt is dynamic, and then the shooting they added in their bigs, the activity of their bigs is huge. And so, we were concerned. We knew we had to be ready for the start of the game, and I think that's important for us. And then you got to play it 48 minutes against them. If you let your guard down, they can put points up quickly on you. And so I thought we were tied together. I loved the way OG played. I thought his activity was phenomenal for us. He's so disruptive, and then getting out and making plays off of transition, getting those easy baskets, I think gets everyone into rhythm. And then when everyone's touching the ball and everyone's cutting like that, it's you get a lot of easy buckets too. It's not just the threes, and the volume of the threes has gone way up. But we know there's a lot of things we got to improve upon also. So. We're moving in the right direction, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
You mentioned the other day about when Josh cuts, it opens things up. It looked like today Jalen was doing it. Mikel, I think Carl had a really nice pass to Jalen on one. Just kind of, is that?
Yeah, and Carl is very, very unselfish, and so our guards are going to get a lot of pressure. And if we move without the ball and we make quick decisions, and if you cut and you're open, and you're going to get it makes you cut hard. And even if you don't get it, what you're doing is creating an open shot for the next guy that's behind you. And so I think all the movement is really good for us. And then let the game tell you what to do. So we talk about making deep paint decisions. And so sometimes there's a cut, we drive off the back of the cutter, and then that creates an easy shot for someone else. And oftentimes when you help somebody else, you end up helping yourself. So keep working together, and when we work together, our offense is going to be very good.
With Cat, he's shooting 65% on three-pointers. You mentioned the passing at 7 assists, including that behind the back. Is this what you envisioned this offense looking like when you got it?
And it's everybody, I think the more that they work together, but Cat's skill set, because of the shooting, you have to be up on him, right? And then what that does is it opens up the cutting, and the harder we cut, the more we're going to get easy buckets, we're going to get open threes, and his willingness to share the ball and make plays for his teammates. And then Jalen they're developing really good chemistry off of it, and it's a lot of it is them seeing things, playing out of the pocket. We had a number of plays in which Jalen found guys in the pocket, Cam found guys in the pocket. We ended up with corner threes off that. And so let the game tell you what to do. If they pull in, hit the open man. Just trust the pass. And that's the way that we're playing right now. And but again, we'll take a look at the film, and we know we got to clean some things up, and defensively continue to work.
You've had a lot of praise for OG lately, and you've coached a lot of great defenders in this league. Is there anything about him that separates him from other guys that you've coached in the past?
Yeah, it's hard to say, in terms of comparing guys to each other. I think each guy is unique, and there's things about him that are so unique and different. His size, his strength, his speed, his anticipation, his ability to read and to see things ahead. When you see things ahead, it makes you quicker. And I think that leads to a lot of disruption. And he knows how to read plays. And if someone's loose with the ball, and he's very active with his hands and disruptive off the ball, but he's also very good on the ball, and he's super long. And so he can fly by you, and he can come back into the play and still impact the shot. I think his pick and roll defense is unique. And then the fact that he can switch onto everybody, so that makes him very unique. And to me, he's, it's great for our team. And I think his teammates, his coaches, the organization, we know how valuable he is to us. He's really invaluable.
How you talk about playing a 48-minute game? I think today you guys were up 26 after one, but never let them make that run. I don't think they ever got within 22 after the first quarter.
Yeah, and it's not easy to do in an NBA game. But, certainly with even no matter what you're up, you never feel like the lead is safe because of the three. You see teams, get 10 points in a minute, and then all of a sudden there's hope, and call doesn't go your way, and then now you're fighting, and so we want to play tough with a lead. And there's a lot that goes into like what we're doing, and we're talking about finishing everything, and that's offensively and defensively. And if we're building the right habits, we'll continue to improve.
Precious, I know Precious came with you guys on this trip. Is there a chance he plays on this road trip, or what?
He's doing a little more on the court. Like once a guy can start doing some stuff on the court, then usually they'll travel with us. Sometimes it's better to keep him back because we could do more rehab stuff at the facility. So it's case by case, but he's making good, steady progress. But he hasn't actually gone through practice yet.
So we'll see about Achua out with the bad hammy. A lot to unpack there. Wally, the presence of Towns drawing the opposing five away from the basket, is that what's leading to all of this cutting and movement that we maybe haven't seen as much in years past?
Yeah, every NBA team wants to open up the floor and open up driving lanes because Jalen Brunson, you got to respect him to knock down that three so he can get a step to the basket and create dribble penetration anytime. So when that middle is open, it opens up cutters, it opens up driving lanes, finishes around the basket. It's just something that Tom Thibodeau really hasn't had a lot of in his coaching career. He's always had a really solid big man that's a great rebounder, rim protector, shot blocker, and defender. But now he's got someone that can stretch the floor, and you can see how fluid Tom Thibodeau's offense is when he has that option.
This is what the Celtics look like when they have Porzingis on the floor and Derek White and slashers and cutters. Obviously, you have Tatum and Brown, but that's what they look like, and this is essentially how 5-out works, and this is what they wanted. And that's, again, why you traded for Karl-Anthony Towns was not just to have his talent, but to help unlock more of what Jalen Brunson can do as well.
And Tibbs really high on OG Anunoby. Now, tonight you notice Anunoby with the 21 points. Other nights maybe he doesn't fill up the box score like he did tonight, but
three straight games with 2 steals.
Right.
Each game, 2 steals, 2 steals, 2 steals. This is what he does. And you heard him use the word disruptive. He's disruptor. Not necessarily as on ball. You saw them put him on Cunningham because he's got the size and the ability to stay in front of him once he started cooking. But what Anunoby does to ruin the other team's offense is subtle, but like a coach like Tom Thibodeau appreciates it because he loves defense.
So the Pistons account on X. Halftime, the Knicks were up by, 23? Yes. Stuff happened. Knicks win the game by 30. Final score update, more things happened.
Detailed analysis.
That's the post-game show. Things happen. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Back from the Corner 3 presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. The Knicks, great effort from top to bottom. We haven't talked about Mikal Bridges. Not only was he great on defense tonight, Wally, but he also had 6 assists to go with 15 points. So he is someone that we're getting used to watching like we are used to watching Cat, and he, like Cat, has a complete game.
Yeah, and he didn't force anything. He just played within the offense. I thought the Knicks did a good job finding him, opened a few times in the corners. He knocked down some threes. He's got the complete game. He has no weaknesses, and that's what I was talking about with Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Bridges. Like, when you look, this team is pretty complete from top to bottom, especially in that starting lineup. Mikal Bridges really finding his way in a Knick uniform very quickly, which is a good thing.
With Bridges and Anunoby, those two guys in this Knick team, this Knick starting five is going to give a lot of teams hell. Young teams, not very good teams, they're going to give some teams hell. And you saw it tonight, and Bridges has been fantastic. You talk about the last 3 games, 7 steals, 4 blocks.
Josh Hart, 1 rebound away from what would have been his, 4th straight double-double?
Yes.
We'll hear from Hart when we come back right after this. Knicks tonight blow out the Pistons by 30. Game summary for the Knicks blowout win in Detroit, 128-98. Josh Hart tonight, 13 points, 9 rebounds, so he just misses out on yet another double-double. Here's Hart now in the post-game locker room.
I mean, it's definitely fun. I think we're all, starting to really get into a rhythm offensively of where everyone likes the ball, and we're just plain unselfish. I think there's times where we've passed up some good looks, whether that was OG, myself, or Cat, but just trying to get, even better looks. So it's been fun. We just got to keep it going.
Tibbs always talks about, playing 48 minutes. You guys never gave up the lead after that big first quarter lead. I think it never got under 22. Just kind of, is that something you guys are striving for?
We're striving for an unattainable goal. I don't think anybody or any team in the history of the NBA has played, full 48 minutes. Boston on ring night's close. That's something like, it's an unattainable goal, but we know that, and we know it's something that we got to continue to build to get to. I'm not sure what we probably played, probably 30 good minutes of basketball tonight. So, going into Houston next, our goal is to play, at least 32, 33, 34 minutes of good basketball and just continue to build and build and build till at the end of the year, we're the best team we can be.
Still looking for a complete game effort, but it looked pretty good from start to finish tonight as Hahn and the Knicks win it tonight, 128-98.